Alright YouTube, this is a 2008 Buick Enclave with the 3.6 V6 VVT engine. A lot of people say, well, these lifters and valves and stuff don't get dirty, but let me here to tell you, yes they do. It's only got 130,000 miles on the actual engine. I started having problems with engine leaks, and I started having a problem with the PVC right here sucking oil into my intake. So I put new valve cover gaskets on, and I put a new, of course when you do new valve cover gaskets you got to take the intake here off, and it's got 4 bolts that go down through, and then your lower intake has 2, but these 4 bolts up here hold your lower intake down too. So when you replace these gaskets to your intake, you also got to take the lower intake off too, which is only held on by 2 bolts, and you can take that out too, if you're going to clean your valves, which I had to clean my valves. Gas only shoots through over one of the valves, not the other one, so your valves do get dirty. And I was having a trouble with misfire on cylinder 3, and I had a couple vacuum leaks. So after I put the new updated gaskets on, oil was not as bad sucking through this intake as it was, but I was still getting some in there. So this is what I done. I ended up still having the misfire problem after I done the gaskets on the intake and gaskets on the valve covers and all that. It wasn't that bad to do. It just took some time to do, but I found out a few things in doing that. I'm getting ready to take the intake off now and see how much oil I got in there, or if there's any in there at all, since it seemed to me that putting the new updated valve cover gaskets on kind of changed the suction a little bit. After I put the gaskets on, I was still actually getting oil in my intake, which I can show you now. See how much oil is in there. I don't think really there's nowhere near as much oil in there now. See, there is still a small amount of oil still in that intake, which really sucks, but see it? Yeah, it's still in there. So you can get a closer view. Not a lot though. It's a lot better than what it was. I changed the oil to a full synthetic oil, and then put an oil treatment in it, which helped tremendously. Now let's see how much oil we got that comes out of here. Go over here and see if you can see this oil. What I usually do is just tip it all the way upside down for a second, just let it run out. But the oil is coming out very slow. There's definitely still some oil in there, so this is what I plan on doing. If I found more oil in the intake, which I did, of course, GM of course has no ideal white oil you can get in your intake. They said, oh, it's got to be worn piston rings, which it's not. It's just honestly, this is a shitty design. So I still had the misfire, of course, and so that's what I did. Changed the coil pack spark plug from cylinder 3 to cylinder 4. Didn't make no change. Done the oil change, new gaskets on, everything. Still didn't make a change. I ended up, this is my second throttle body that was put on here, because all the oil that goes through there can't affect that. But after I done the oil change, the gaskets, and everything, I was still getting the misfire and still getting a small amount of oil entering my intake. So I figured it was my fuel injector, because I just can't see why a car with 130,000 miles on it would have worn rings just yet when it's been well taken care of. So I looked around online. I was trying to find a fuel treatment, and I came across this Marvel Mystery Oil, and I put this in there 2 days ago. And since I put it in there, I drove it, let it set overnight. Next day, started it up, turned off all the check engine lights. In the past 2 days, the check engine light has not been back on. So I was thinking one of my injectors, cylinder number 3, must have been partially clogged or dirty. And this did actually get it out, and I've tried a lot of things. But this stuff right here actually did clean it up a bit. So I was trying to figure out what I was going to do to keep the oil out of the intake, of course. And I went and got one oil catch can, and that did not work. It actually made things worse. So is what I figured out is that this PVC system is a pretty much positive crankcase system, which is a closed system. So I found this oil catch can right here. You should get a little better view of it, which is a sealed and baffled oil catch can. And it's got really big ports on it, which is good, because if this PVC right here is restricted it will make it run worse, and it could be hard on your engine. So you need something that's big that can suck a lot of air. So I will be installing this as soon as I get hoses that are big enough to run to it. I'm just trying to figure out exactly where I'm going to mount it at. I'd like to mount it somewhere like right in here somewhere. But we'll see how that goes, and I will let everybody know if it worked, didn't cause any other drivability issues, and if it's keeping all the oil out of my intake. The Marvel Mystery Oil did help tremendously on keeping the oil out of my intake. Now I'm going to get in here. We are going to check and see how dirty that dude is. Put the breather back on. I'm not claiming to be no A1 mechanic, but I've been doing it most of my life, and I do know a few things. So I know a lot of people get comments like, oh, this and that, but you don't really know what it is until you actually try troubleshooting that cylinder. When I took my lower intake off, I did clean my injectors and things like that, because you can get to the bottom of them. But so is what we're gonna do. I got a diagnostics machine here, and since there's nothing on this, right now we're gonna see what the fuel trims are running. They'll be a little out of whack at the moment because, of course, the long term is. evap. I did put a new evap purge solenoid on too, which helped. But not a lot of people show these engines a lot on YouTube or on the web or anything like that. Another thing that I will be doing is I bought the book to it, showing the torque down specifications to the intake, which is 17 foot-pounds. I use my inch-pound torque wrench on it because it's a lot smaller, and I think that equates to something like 204 inch-pounds or something like that, and that is exact, but you can add it up. But I will be putting some of that info on here as well, since there's not a lot really out there on this engine for some reason. But yeah, like I said, right now no service engine soon light. It's idling perfect. Everything is perfect right now. And when I do put the oil catch can on, I will give everybody an update if they want. This PVC right here goes to the back one, and I know everybody's like, it sounds like a vacuum leak, but there's just so much air getting sucked through that one on top. It does sound like a vacuum leak, but it's not. But yeah, right now it's running good. I actually took just a little bit of the mystery oil. There was about that much in the bottom, and I went ahead and put it in my oil to kind of clean the lifters up a little bit. And I was gonna run it for a couple 100 miles and then give it another oil change. But oil in these cars do matter. Go with the GM specified oil for these cars, because it will knock down on how much oil is getting sucked through the PVC system. Like I said, the rear valve cover gasket is a pain to get to. I'm not even gonna lie, it's a pain. But the little finessing, you can get to it. I never took this off. Is what I did, was loosen it up, pushed it to the side as far as I could, and with a little finessing and working, I got the valve cover gasket out without having to take all this stuff off. So it is possible to do it without having to take all this crap off. If I done it, somebody else surely can do it. It's not as bad as it looks doing it. All your plug-ins here are all different, so it ain't like you can plug the wrong one in, because they're, like I said, they're all different. Like I said, once that oil gets in there, it can cause a lot of issues. When I looked at my valves, where the actual injectors, the valve that they shot down in, I actually they wasn't too bad, but on the exhaust side they was pretty cruddy. So I took some seafoam. Once I took the upper and lower intake off, I took the seafoam and I actually poured it down in there. I only had one set of valves that was actually open, so I didn't pour it down in that one, but I poured it in all the rest and actually let the seafoam sit overnight, and then got a small toothbrush and I come out here and just got as much out as I could. And they was still full, they wasn't leaking. So is what I done, I got a small shop vac just like this right here, and I ran a hose to it, and a smaller hose, and then I stuck this down in my valves and sucked all the old seafoam and stuff like that sat overnight actually out after I scrubbed them out with a toothbrush really well, which did help get a lot of the carbon deposits and stuff off, loosened it all up. So I will be giving an update once I do install the oil catch can and I drive it for a few days. This one is a DNA oil catch can, sealed. I'll show y'all exactly how this dude works. It's pretty cool. Like I said, it's got the big intakes on it. What you need is what you do. Take it apart. It's smoky. Take it apart. And what happens here is it's baffled. You see the baffles on it. So when the air goes through here, it's going to circulate out, hitting the baffle right there. Makes a lot less oil come out the clean side, which in turn will keep your valves clean. But since this ain't got no drainage on it, you will have to take this loose periodically, but probably between oil changes, and just make sure it's emptied. And you can see what all you caught in there. You know, might catch a bug or no telling, honestly. But see how much gunk you can keep out of your engine. Really not good for that gunk to get down in your engine. Your engine kind of wear itself out. But I ordered this on Amazon. I think it was like about $37. Got it shipped. Came within 6 days. I tried the other oil catch can that's not sealed, and it, like I said, it does not work on these engines. I don't know if I still have that one laying around here somewhere. The garage is a complete wreck from doing all the work to the engine. But yeah, if you get you a sealed one, a sealed oil catch can. This is the last one I got, which did not work. The ports are way smaller. Does got a drainage on the bottom, which is good, but it's not sealed. It leaks everywhere. And on these engines, it's got to be sealed up because it is a sealed PVC system. So, hope this helps somebody, and I'll be updating on the oil catch can.